Hey, friends. Well, welcome to the podcast. So, this week we are talking about another way to grow your platform and a couple ways actually that are similar to each other. And that is being a podcast guest and writing guest articles or blog posts for someone else's website. These still give you really good exposure, but they don't require quite the startup, especially in the case of being a podcast guest. You're not actually starting your own podcast, you're just being a guest on someone else's. So, both of these are opportunities to really borrow someone else's platform. When you are a guest on a podcast or a website or a blog, it's ideally a win-win for both you and the host. So, you are providing valuable content that will interest their readers or listeners and help them, while at the same time, you are gaining exposure to their audience, and some from their audience may decide they like what you have to say and they want to come over and also listen to what you have to offer or read your writing also. I have seen this work as a consumer many times. I personally, by example, I enjoy listening to podcasts. I have one or two that I listen to that talk about the overlap of neuroscience and psychology with the Bible. While I have listened to that, I have heard guests who approach the topic from different angles, and I've really liked what they had to say. And I'll go and buy their book or subscribe to their newsletter, where I would not have ever even heard of them had they not been a guest. And so that's kind of how that works. As you're looking for podcasts and websites to pitch yourselves to as a guest, look for ones that have a similar audience and message to your own. You want to bring something to their listeners, their readers, that would benefit them, but also not compete with what the host is already doing. But ideally to complement that and maybe come at the topic from a slightly different angle. So put yourself in your host's shoes. Would your topic be helpful for those listeners? Do you have a unique slant or angle that you can come at it from? Some websites and podcasts have a list of submission guidelines and upcoming topics that they're covering, and that can make things a lot easier for you as you're trying to choose a topic. So if they don't list topics or guidelines, you can email them a pitch of what you would like to talk about or write about. And just don't be afraid to follow up if you don't hear back right away. I have had things where people have pitched me for my podcast, and the emails have gotten stuck in my spam folder or otherwise forgotten about in the shuffle of life. So don't be afraid to follow up at least once if you don't hear back right away. Now, it can be scary to pitch yourself to be on a podcast or write a guest post for someone else. Just remember the famous hockey player, Wayne Gretzky, said a quote that we use in my house a lot: "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." So the worst thing that can happen is that the person you're pitching to can say no. But if you don't ask, the answer is already no. So they might say yes. So I encourage you to have the courage to put it out there, send the pitch, see what happens. The answer might be yes. So if you, or once you have the opportunity to write that article or be that guest on the podcast, see what the host will allow you to do as far as offering maybe a lead magnet that is catered to that audience, or at least sharing your website and contact info. Having something to offer those who listen or read will help you to make the most of that opportunity. I always offer my podcast guests an opportunity at the end of an interview to share with my listeners, okay, where can they find you? Where can they connect with your work and read more of what you have? A lot of times when you write a guest article, there's an opportunity to include a brief bio at the end of an article, which would include your website and maybe your contact info, social media handles, things like that. So what do you think? Are you willing to give it a try? Do some research and pick at least one place that you can pitch to, either a podcast or a website to write a guest article for, and see what happens.